All right, dude, we are live. What's up, guys? This is Dem Keys, and give me a second because I have Fillian's stream open. I need to mute the stream. Well, no, I need to lower down the stream volume because I usually have somebody's stream playing in the background while I'm streaming as well, just so I have a tiny bit of background sound. Because when it's completely silent and I'm the only one talking, for some reason my voice just starts to shiver, vibrate. I don't know what's the word to use there. But yeah, anyways, um, what's up, guys? Um, this is Dem Keys, and today we are going to be learning Lua. So I was supposed to do this stream yesterday, but then things just didn't work out. First of all, dude, I'm horrible with time management. If I would have started the stream or tried to start the stream earlier, uh, I would have I would have had some chance of being able to stream, but then I just kept getting late because I got distracted with a couple of things. Actually, okay, one of the things that I got distracted with yesterday, aside from Lua, which I decided to do on stream. I was like, okay, I'm doing this off stream. I might as well learn it on stream as well. The primary objective, by the way, with learning Lua for me is mainly doing NeoVim stuff because I want to be able to make sense out of the config files that I see because the majority of them are all in Lua because that's sort of the programming language that you use in NeoVim to extend its functionality. So to customize settings, to set up plugins, to set up key maps and stuff like that, you use Lua. I think you also use Vim script. I'm not entirely sure about that, so I can't say for sure. But at least in NeoVim, Lua is very heavily used. Um, where was I going with this? Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I want to learn Lua. That being said, I don't really plan on going too deep into Lua. The little bit of research that I did do on Lua, it revealed to me that Lua is a language that's apparently meant to be an an embedded language. I, I don't know if that's what the language was designed for initially, but over the years, that's exactly what I've seen. A lot of people have been using Lua to um, maybe customize applications or to write scripts for various functionality. I remember there was a game engine that was in development back in the day called Elysian Shadows. I hope I'm not remembering this wrong, but I do believe they as well added Lua. Yeah, yeah. I remember the one of the devs mentioning Lua tables. They were using other languages as well. I think at one point they might have been using Perl. I'm not sure. I don't. I think they were using Perl initially, and then I think they moved to Lua or something like. I don't remember what it was exactly, but eventually it did turn into that. Yeah, they were going to use Lua as the scripting language for their game engine, and I've seen Lua being used in similar ways in a bunch of other situations as well. So a lot of times it does get used as an embedded scripting language, and so it's being used in NeoVim as well. And because of that, I wanna learn Lua. I don't intend on going too deep into it, as I mentioned before. I do want to get enough knowledge that I would be able to do basic scripting in in NeoVim, and then the next thing I would like to do is this. If you guys can see, yeah, you guys can see it. The next thing I would like to do is this: understanding configs and key maps and various settings files in NeoVim, because the majority of them are all written in Lua. So I would like to get an understanding of what exactly I'm looking at. Now, yesterday installed I installed the Lua interpreter on one of my machines. Today I installed it just like minutes before the stream on this Linux machine that's currently being shown on stream. And I just jumped into it. Now I did want to learn Lua from I was hoping to be able to learn it through like a text thing, or hopefully from the website itself. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe learning things through LLMs has kind of changed the way that I like to consume tutorial content. Because I took a look at the documentation and I found myself getting impatient very quickly. For one thing, I I remember initially when I don't remember what exactly I had clicked on, but the first thing it did was take me towards books. I think I had clicked on ebook. Yeah, I think I clicked on ebook or just books. I don't remember. Assuming that it would be an ebook that's available for us to read, but then the link went to Gumroad for some reason, and I was like, okay, this is not what I was looking for. And then I tried looking at the reference manual. I believe this one. Yeah, it's this one, and this is great in its own way. But for some reason, again, I just found myself getting very impatient with it and not really. I wasn't really enjoying the format in which things were being presented. I'm sure this is great. It's amazing, but I guess I've just become a lot more impatient in terms of learning stuff because I kind of want to dive into things very quickly. Granted, this does mean I will miss important things here and there, but yeah, I don't know. The point I was trying to make, it's kind of gotten like spread all over the place. Basically, the manual on the Lua website was just not doing it for me. So instead, what I did is I decided to ask Gemini. Give me a second. Now, okay, what we're going to do is I'm not going to be reading, no, I'm not going to show the Gemini thing on stream because it's on another machine. What I will do is read. Give me a second. Let me open up my stream manager. Just a minute. Okay, so um, right. Real quick, let me just confirm. Know anything about the language, so I want to first learn and practice the language outside of the context of Lua, outside the context of NeoVim customization, just bare bones Lua, perhaps using an interpreter or compiler of some sort. At that time, I didn't know whether Lua is interpreted or compiled, so that's why I said both interpreted or interpreter or compiler of some sort. I looked at the Lua manual on site. What? On site? No, I looked at the Lua manual on the site and I didn't like how it was teaching. You teach me. Start with the basics. Then, if you feel it necessary, considering what I eventually plan on doing with Lua, go into advanced stuff. So that's the prompt that I gave. And yeah, that's how we began. So Gemini so far gave me some quick some quick information about data types. It mentioned that there's the nil type. Hold on. Let me bring up the Lua interpreter. Okay. So, Gemini mentioned that there are a couple of data types. There's the nil type, there's Boolean, number, which is apparently a double precision floating point number, which made me wonder whether they have any other types of numbers, or is this like the only number? I think we'll have to find that out later on. Like, do they have, I don't know, integers, for example, or is everything just a floating point number? Then and finally, we have a function, which is a block of code that can be called and reused. So what I found interesting was I would see stuff like um, I don't know, so and so equals, and then there would be curly brackets, and within the curly brackets, I would see fields being mentioned and their values being set, right? But then some of those fields would contain functions within them. And I was like, dude, what? What is going on here? Like, I was kind of confused because I don't know Lua, right? So okay, we went over the basics. We did stuff like, okay, this is number, so then you can, if I can type properly, then you can print out, the values. So we can do str01, which is let's say sum o1, str02. I believe you can use both single quotes and double quotes. Then we have what else was there? There was Boolean. There was wait, hold on. So okay, what would be the difference between 1 and 1.0? So here it seems to be setting both an integer and a floating point number. So I'm gonna have to find out exactly. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Um, So if there was also this thing where you can print the type. Actually, I wonder if I just type, would that also work? Yeah, that also works. So regardless whether you set um, a floating point number or an integer, it still posts it still shows the type as a number. So that's what I found interesting. So I was like, okay, how exactly is this working? At some point later, we'll have to dive deeper into, like, what different types of numbers can it really have. Um, what else? Oh yeah, there was table. So here we can define a list of values. And the interesting thing is that you can have different types. It's not limited to one specific type. So for example, I can do something like this. So this would be the table itself, but then I can access the values within the table, and like the table accepts multiple value types, multiple data types. Um, what else was I gonna do? Oh yeah, there's also you can set up the table as a key value pair, so as a dictionary kind of thing. Actually, I don't remember if that's called something different, but yeah. How was that? Do we have to put the key the key name within quotes? I don't remember that. Let's test that out. No, I guess you don't. And then you can access it like this once you've specified a key. What happens if I do this? Does that work? Holy shit. Okay. So they did mention it's a dynamic, like it's a dynamically typed language, and I think part of that is that you can add you can add extra fields, which is kind of interesting because you can do the same thing in Python as well, where you have a class. Within the class, you might have certain attributes, certain fields, right? Once you create an instance of that class, you can then assign values to new fields that don't even exist, and they will then exist in that specific instance, not in the entire object. In that specific instance, those values will exist. By the way, speaking of Python, another thing I was looking into yesterday, um, did I mention why I got late yesterday? So, okay, here's what happened, right? I was supposed to start streaming earlier. However, I suddenly got distracted with looking for TUI browsers. Um, I think a month ago, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, I did look into TUI based browsers, and I was like, I don't know if I don't think I did too much research into it because I was doing this thing where um, I was trying to discover all the different TUI based. Give me a second. Yeah, I was doing this thing where I was trying to discover all the different TUI based applications that are available, just to just window shopping basically. And I guess I didn't really give too much um, importance to TUI browsers. I was curious about it, but something about my research, which again, it was very little research, something about it kind of like turned me off of doing it. I don't remember what it was. Um, but then I was like, nah, I think I'll stick with doing browser stuff in the browser. But then recently I decided to try again, and this time some very promising results popped up. Um, some notable ones, actually three notable ones. There were a couple that popped up, but three of the notable ones were Lynx and then ELinks, which was, I believe, a fork of Lynx, which then added a bunch of features to it. I don't remember the lore exactly. You can look it up. And then there was something called Browsh or Brow SH. I don't know how they want to pronounce it. I'm going to say Browsh because it sounds nice. Browsh is interesting. Let me actually open it up here and show you guys. Another very important thing that I was looking for in the browser, the TUI based browser, was um, the fact that it's maintained, the fact that it's currently being maintained. Actually, I think I can open up all three. So Lynx, GitHub, then we had ELinks, GitHub, uh, oh yeah, Browsh. Okay, now give me a second. There it is. Okay. Okay. Cool. Right. Um, okay. Great. So, wait, did I not open this up? I thought I opened this up. But yeah. So, this is ELinks. This is Lynx. Now, this is a fork of ELinks. I remember reading somewhere that ELinks was a fork of Lynx. I don't know if I'm just remembering the thing wrong. But yeah, this is Lynx. This says, I was about to say that this says its objective is to empower the web community. I'm just going to read the thing out. So, empower the web community and invite more to build across platforms. So, this is Lynx. I need to look further into this. I don't remember if I looked further into it or not. I think one of the reasons I didn't look too deep into it was because I had asked Gemini um, about like the difference in features. I asked, okay, what choices do I have when choosing TUI browsers? And Gemini said this. Um, Wait, let me go to the top where, yeah, so what I'd asked was at the beginning of the thread, what I'd asked was I've been moving a lot of my workflow over to terminal based or TUI based apps. I do the majority of my stuff in the terminal now. Something that I haven't managed to move over, and I understand that I'll never fully be able to move it over, is the usage of the browser. I use Firefox. I want to know what I can do in terms of browser stuff through TUI based apps. And the response that I got was this. Um, it's a great idea. It's a great idea to move more of your workflow to the terminal for efficiency and a consistent environment. While you're right that you'll never fully replace a modern graphical browser like Firefox, there's a lot you can do with TUI based browsers. These browsers typically focus on rendering the core content of a web page and have little to no support for modern web browser features like JavaScript, CSS, or images. This makes, okay, quick pause here. This is great because this is actually something that I'd been looking for quite a while. Because there have been plenty of situations where I'll open up a website specifically to get information from it. I don't give a shit about flashy stuff. I specifically want information, maybe like documentation or something. And there are often times where uh, a site's the way that a site is formatted, the way that its entire theme and all of its UI is set up, it's just a huge pain. Not only does it make it hard to read the thing, it also sometimes takes time to load, and also it can eat up RAM in on lower end machines, which is where I'm usually running my stuff. It's on lower end machines. So if I'm able to move a bunch of those things, like reading documentation and reading a bunch of information and stuff over to TUI based apps, I feel like give me a second. Yeah, if I'm able to move a bunch of that stuff over to the terminal, I feel like I'm gonna be able to be more productive because that'll mean that my browser is not going to fill up the memory as quickly as it usually does. Because usually when it does fill up the memory, because I've opened up a bunch of different tabs, then I have to close the browser and reopen it, and that whole thing usually takes a couple of minutes depending on how full the memory has become. Because if I let it get like all the way to the end, then the system is going to slow down, and um, trying to close the browser is going to take some time while the system kind of frees up memory. So then it can take upwards of like 5 minutes to just do that simple thing. So all of that, I'm going to be able to avoid it if I'm able to move a significant amount of the, at least the information based stuff. Like if I'm reading documentation, if I'm reading an article, if I'm reading um, I don't know, some kind of how-to guide, some kind of tutorial or something. I need to find a way, dude. Okay, so um, I need to see how well this is gonna work out, because the website the website archive, not archive.org. It's written as arxiv or something like that. This is a website where you can find white papers for various things. And if you are hearing about some sort of AI or data science or machine learning or deep learning related thing that has been launched newly, or that some kind of research within these fields that has come out, chances are there's going to be a white paper on it on that website. I mean, there's also a chance that it'll be on other sites as well, but this is a fairly well-known site. Generally, at least in the past, what you would have to do is you would go to the website, and usually you wouldn't visit the website directly. There would be like a blog post, or there would be a post on something like, I don't know, Hugging Face, or on Twitter or Threads or something, where people will announce that, yeah, so and so researchers have put out so and so research, and here's the archive link. And that's how you get to the website. So you get to the page of that specific white paper, but to actually read the entire thing, you have to open up the PDF file that's attached to that. Generally, that's how it would work. But in the past year, I think they have been working on this feature, or maybe past 2 years. I don't know exactly how old the feature is, but it's fairly new. They've been working on this thing where they can convert all of that PDF data into HTML. So you don't have to open up the PDF file. You can just view the entire thing as HTML. And this I can use to my advantage, because if I'm able to just view that entire thing as text, then there's a decent chance I'm going to be able to read it within my TUI based browser, which means I can do a ton of research this way. I can do a ton of research. And there's a lot of like these white papers that I've been meaning to read, just to get like a better understanding and improve and build upon the knowledge that I currently have. Um, but yeah, dude, dude, I have ideas. A lot of these things, a lot of like, oh, another great thing is that regardless of which website it is, it's going to be in dark mode if I'm displaying the thing in the terminal, because it's not going to be the great thing about the terminal. I mean, again, it depends on which TUI based browser you are using, but generally, if you're rendering it in the terminal, then it's mostly going to pull the content, and uh, again, depending on which TUI browser it is, it may or may not ignore the JavaScript and the CSS, and the various aesthetic elements of the page, which is, to be honest, kind of what I'm looking for. Because there have been plenty of situations where I'm like, dude, I just want the information. Give me the information. I don't want all of these like menus. And sometimes websites are designed with specific types of screens in mind. Websites have sometimes websites have like this weird, they websites are generated using a static site generator of some sort, and then there's a theme applied to it, and sometimes the theme is using a fixed sort of UI, which I feel like a great example of this. Let me show you. I don't know if this was like a static generator kind of situation, because this was done using something called Doxygen. But if you look at the um, hold on. Let me do this so I can. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. But again, I can't say for sure that this was a static site generator situation. But they did mention that the docs are generated using Doxygen. Um, Twitch lib. So the documentation for Twitch lib is on a website. Um, let me show you. I think it was this twitchlib.github.io. Right. Okay. Take a look at this. This. This is their thing, and it says in the bottom right here. Actually, can you guys see that? I'm not sure if you. I think you can. Yeah. It says here generated by Doxygen. This entire section is taken up by TwitchLib. Look at that. I could click on something here. I don't know if this can be collapsed or not. I'm not sure. Okay, this can be collapsed, which is good. Wait, why is it not collapsing? Is this not for collapsing? Oh, this is to lock whether you can or cannot. Okay, no, that's not what it's for. I'm not sure what this is for then. I thought it's to lock this thing. Either way, uh, I didn't know you could actually do this. Can you do this? Did I miss this as well? No, you can't somehow get rid of this thing. So this is the only within the page you can basically only use half of the page to read the stuff. So there's these kinds of situations which I'm not going to have to deal with. Then there's other kinds of situations where um wait, did I switch the yeah, okay. There's other kinds of situations where I would have to deal with like the thing being permanently stuck in light mode, or in the case of like the Unity website, for example, the Unity docs for some reason on some of I feel like I've only faced this issue when visiting the website from a Linux machine. I have no idea what the connection is. I have no idea like what's going on there, but for some reason the text would appear like gray. The website itself, the background is white, right? But the text would appear gray, and I wasn't sure how to go about fixing that. But yeah, there's all sorts of situations which I'm going to be able to avoid, um, and it's going to put like a significantly less strain on my machine having the web page open. Hopefully. So this is Browsh. This is something that I'm definitely interested in looking into. I need to see to what extent I can like customize whatever is going on here. Let's see what this says. I don't think I read this whole thing. There was also Lynx. I never looked at any sort of like images or anything relating to Lynx. Let's take a look at okay, there's the about, and then there's documentation, how to use Lynx. Let's open up all of these. I'm hoping there are images that I can see, so I'll get an idea of what viewing a website through Lynx looks like. By the way, I started talking about TUI based browsers, and this is exactly what happened yesterday. I just got sucked into doing the research on TUI based browsers, and I didn't really, you know, uh, I didn't really. I was supposed to start the stream. I didn't get a chance to start the stream. Wait, what's going on? Why is the internet slow? Are we dropping frames? Oh, oh, yeah. Okay. I think we are dropping frames. Give it a bit. Give it a bit. It's loading. Okay. All right. Cool. Lynx apps may target iOS 10 and Android 5 or newer. We recommend using Mac OS as the development operating system. Windows and Linux are not. Hold on just a minute, dude. I didn't know that this was the case. We recommend using Mac OS as the development operating system. Windows and Linux are not yet verified or guaranteed, so you may encounter problems. If you need assistance, please file an issue and we will be more than happy to address it. Okay. Write once, render everywhere. Wait, what does this say? Lynx is a family of open source technologies empowering developers to use their existing web skills to create truly native UIs for both mobile and web from a single code base. Am I looking at the wrong thing? Hold on. Just a second. Lynx browser. Okay, it's called Lynx. It's called Lynx, not this Lynx. It's not Lynx Lynx. It's Lynx Links. There you go. That's where my confusion was. So here's what we're gonna do. I don't know what this Lynx thing is. This Lynx thing that I've opened up, but I'm gonna open up the real Lynx. Give me a second. I don't know if it's hosted on. Actually, I could open up the, wait, no. So I'm going to open up the Wikipedia. I'm going to open up the Wikipedia page. Lynx browser, GitHub. So there's Lynx www browser. Okay. Then there's Lynx like text mode web browser. This is a different Lynx. Okay. Then there's Lynx 2, console portable web browser. Then there's ELinks, which is fork of ELinks. Okay. Next, I'm just going to look up Lynx browser, which brings up this. Something by twibright.com. Links.twibright.com. We're going to open up that as well. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. HTML written in Vim. Graphics made with GIMP. Okay, that explains it. I was like, you guys, okay, hold on. You guys need to see exactly why I had that reaction. This is the Lynx website. Yeah, this is the Lynx website. Webmaster of the Lynx website is Mikulas. I believe this name was mentioned here in ELinks. I remember reading the thing. Where was it? Yeah, it was mentioned here in the historical notes. The name was mentioned here. They also mentioned that because the original maintainer of that Lynx project preferred to keep it like a minimal application, so they wouldn't often, accept a bunch of various features that were being added. Oh wow. Yeah, this seems like something that I would do. Write the entire README in Vim. Actually, okay, I was in a similar situation recently. I did want to write like a bare bones README, but I was like, Let me see if there's some way to add Markdown support, because I do know Markdown and it can help with rendering stuff to a certain extent. It can make it a little easier to, or well, it can make it a tiny bit pretty, let's say. Um, that being said, wait, are these all like mirrors? This fork cleans up a lot of legacy code but removes the graphics mode. This has been subtly broken for a while. It sometimes seg faults on unexpected pages in a way. Okay, well, appreciate the honesty. A bunch of these don't seem to be being maintained. Right, so this says Lynx is a free software text and graphical web browser with a pull-down menu system. It renders complex pages, has partial HTML4 support, supports colors and monochrome terminals, and allows horizontal scrolling. It's intended for users who want to retain many typical elements of graphical user interfaces in a text-only environment, such as pop-up windows, menus, etc. The original version of Lynx was developed by Mikulas so-and-so in the Czech Republic. His group, Twibright Labs, later developed version 2 of the Lynx browser, which displays graphics and renders fonts in different sizes, but no longer supports JavaScript. It used to up to version so and so. The resulting browser is very fast, but does not display many pages as intended. Okay, yeah, that's fair. The graphical mode works even on Unix systems without the X Windows system or any other window environment, using either SVGA lib or the frame buffer of the system's graphics card. Okay, so we got features. What does that take us to? Oh, good. Okay, we have pics. Wait, dude, this is yo, what? I feel like the way that this website has been made, this website is going to be able to render on the Lynx browser as well. I think that's one of the things that they made this uh keeping keeping in mind. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in and read. Okay, Lynx runs on Linux in general, um, and for Windows you use Cygwin. Okay, Lynx runs in graphics mode, mouse required on the X Windows system, SVGA lib, Linux frame buffer, and so and so. Okay, Lynx runs in text mode, mouse is optional on Unix console. Okay, wait, so the graphics mode would not be running in the terminal? Okay, okay. I was mistaken there. I thought that graphics mode is running like within the terminal. And virtually any other text terminal. Mouse is supported for GPM, Xterm, and so and so. Okay. Easy and quick user control via pull down. Hold on, just a second. Where's the GitHub for this? So we have download, right? We have development. We have about, and then we have the person's thing, which leads to, I'm not sure what that link is. Download leads to download. I hope it doesn't start the download. Because all of the developers of Lynx have successfully finished their college study, the development of Lynx loses its incentive as a school work and moves into an area of free time, which is generally scarce. To reinsure the community in development with stable supply of Development time, we decided to incite the users into sending financial contributions. Okay, the contributors together um, with contributed amount will be published here. Okay, cool. Okay, right. I'm not seeing an I'm not seeing like a simple. Hold on. Let me is Lynx browser not on GitHub? Wait, so Lynx web browser is still showing up, but then why does it mention why does it mention hold on. Okay, we're gonna step away from this for a second. Why did this links here mention, and this is like actively being developed, right? But this mentions Mac OS. Okay, let me try asking Gemini because Gemini might have all the information in like one place as opposed to me going and looking for bits of information here and there. Okay, I was looking for the Lynx TUI browser uh, GitHub repo. I instead found Lynx. So first off, for some reason, I'm not able to find the official repo for Lynx, but also what exactly is Lynx, this being the other Lynx. Okay, you've stumbled upon a common point of confusion in the world of text-based web browsers. Lynx TUI browser. It seems you are looking for the browser called Lynx, while it's a TUI-based browser. While it's a TUI browser, a direct official GitHub repo for the original project is not easily found as many other modern open source projects. This is likely because the project's development and hosting predate the widespread adoption of GitHub. Lynx is a powerful and versatile browser that has been around for a long time. It has multiple versions, including Lynx 2, which adds graphical capabilities. The original codebase and development might be hosted elsewhere, and you might find forks or mirrors on GitHub. Yes, we found mirrors. Oh, actually, we found forks as well. I think they did mention that they were forks. I don't remember. But not a single central official repo like you'd see for a project that started in the last decade. Okay, next. What is Lynx? Lynx is a different TUI browser, and it's a very significant one. It's the oldest web browser still maintained, with its initial release in 1992. Here's a breakdown of what makes it unique. Text-based. Lynx is a purely text-based browser. It does not display images, videos, or other graphical content. It renders web pages as plain text using spaces and other characters to represent layout. Speed, because it doesn't load multimedia, Lynx is incredibly fast. This makes it ideal for low bandwidth connections or situations where you only need to read text content of a page. Accessibility, okay. Versatility, Lynx can be used for internet access on a remotely connected system without a graphical display. Okay, all right. Explain to me why the repo recommends using Mac OS. I was expecting heavy support for Linux. It appears there may be a misunderstanding, or you have encountered a specific unofficial repository. Wait, back up, back up. Explain to me why the Lynx repo. There appears to be some confusion regarding the Lynx project you are looking at. The Lynx you are referring to, which recommends Mac OS, is likely not the classic text-based web browser. There are a few different projects that go by the name Lynx, and they have different purposes and platform recommendations. Oh, okay, wait. Um, oh, okay. So what we are looking at is something for creating like UI for the web. So this is the wrong repo. We are in the wrong repo. Right. Give me a second. I'm gonna look for the right one, hopefully. Lynx browser, GitHub. Let's hope that the right one pops up. Wait, there's another thing called Lynx here as well. Okay. Okay. So this Lynx that I'm looking at is a C project which has commits, like the last commit to this was 11 years ago. You guys need to see this. Okay, so it says here, um, Lynx version something something is the latest release, February 2014. Okay. What is Lynx? Lynx is a fully featured World Wide Web client for users running cursor addressable character cell display. Oh God, holy shit. That's a description, dude. This is meant to like, because this is like a really old technology, right? This specific thing is a very old project. So didn't it mention something about like the 90s, or was that the other Lynx? Okay, hold on. The classic Lynx web browser. This is the browser you probably initially heard about. It's the original text-based web browser, and its primary platform is Unix-like operating systems, including Linux. It has a long history, and is a core utility in the Linux ecosystem. While it can be installed on Mac OS, it doesn't recommend Mac OS. It's just one of the many supported platforms. You would expect to see heavy support for Linux because that's its native environment. Okay, all right. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, let's look at Browsh. Okay, because my mind has been going like all over the place. Now, whenever I'm looking at one of these um, libraries or applications or something that's incredibly important to me is that the application is, or the repo is being actively maintained. Um, I kind of want to see, you know, active maintenance taking place on the repo, active like commits and stuff, because that tells me that yeah, this project hasn't been abandoned, and if there are issues popping up, then the devs do take a look at it and work on fixing it, and maybe they'll add newer features and stuff like that. Okay. Now, keeping that in mind, it really seems like Browsh might be my best bet when it comes to what I'm looking for. So I'm considering installing it. So let's read this. Why use Browsh? You know what? I think I'm going to change the title for this stream as well, just like it happened in the last stream as well. Um, I mean, we're probably going to we're probably going to continue looking at Lua as well, but yeah, maybe I can change the title to Learning Lua and looking at TUI web browsers, because we ended up spending a lot of time, looking into web browsers. So yeah, okay. Why use Browsh? Not all the world has good internet. Yep, that's me. If you only have a 3 kbps internet connection tethered from a phone, then it's good to SSH into a server and browse the web through, say, ELinks. That way, the server downloads the web pages and uses the limited bandwidth of an SSH connection to display the results. However, traditional text-based browsers lack uh, JS and all other modern HTML5 support. Browsh is different in that it's backed by a real browser, namely headless Firefox, to create a purely text-based version of web pages and web apps. These can be easily rendered in a terminal, or indeed, unironically, in another browser. Do note that currently the browser client doesn't have feature parity with the terminal client. The browser client, oh, I assume they mean the browser client that's going to render this terminal version of the web page. Okay, well, I'm planning on using the terminal anyways. Why not? Why not VNC? Well, VNC is certainly one solution. What is VNC? Hold on. VNC. Networking? I'm not sure. Virtual network computing is a technology that enables remote access and control of a computer's graphical desktop over a network. Oh, okay. Okay, so just remote, uh just like a remote kind of technology, remote control technology. It allows users to view and interact with the remote repository's computer screen, keyboard, and mouse as if they were sitting in front of it. Yeah, so basically, remote desktop applications. I don't know if it's exactly the same technology, but like that's kind of what's being achieved. I should look into it though, because there's another post here saying VNC versus RDP, and I think the remote desktop apps use RDP, not VNC. I should look into VNC. Anyways, okay. Well, VNC is certainly one solution, but it doesn't quite have the same ability to deal with extremely bad internet. Terminal Browsh can also use MOSH to further reduce bandwidth. What is MOSH? The mobile shell is a replacement for interactive SSH terminals. Oh, that's interesting. It's more robust and responsive, especially over Wi-Fi, cellular, and long-distance links. Okay, cool. Where was I? Yeah. Um, MOSH. Let's call it MOSH. MOSH offers features like automatic reconnection of dropped or roamed connections and diff-only screen updates. Okay. Furthermore, other than SSH or MOSH, Terminal Browsh doesn't require a client like VNC. One final reason to use terminal Browsh is to offload the battery drain of a modern browser from your laptop or low power device like a Raspberry Pi. If you're a CLI native, then you could potentially get a few more hours of life if your CPU hungry browser is running somewhere else on mains electricity. Wait a minute. So the idea here is to run this over SSH. Yeah, I think that's what's going on here. I think the idea is to run this over SSH. Now, I have a question. Okay, so I've been looking at TUI browsers. In another convo, you mentioned Lynx, ELinks, and Browsh to me. I looked at the first two, and they don't seem to be very actively maintained. Actually, let me confirm that for ELinks, because I think that was the case with ELinks as well. No, okay, hold on. ELinks is actively maintained. Nope, I take that back. Um, which one had I seen that wasn't actively maintained? I don't remember. Okay, so let me change that. I looked at the first two. There was one reason why I was okay. You know what? We're gonna maybe come back to ELinks. I looked at the first two. Um, no, actually, forget about looked at the first two. Lynx, though old, it seems like it might be a little too old and maybe have trouble with. Okay, I'm not gonna give reasons. So, Lynx, I'm not really feeling it because of how old it is. Then that's not the exact reason, but like with Lynx, it's like first of all, I can't even find the GitHub repo, right? Um, so if I want to test the thing out, I'm gonna have to install it, and then I need to be able to see how actively the thing is being maintained. And it seems like more effort than it's worth to even get information about this browser. So that's why it's kind of like I'm not really feeling it. I'm sure the project is pretty awesome and the developers are doing a great job with it. Give me a second. It's also possible that I just haven't looked hard enough for the Lynx browser, but like usually if it's something big and well known and widely used and actively maintained, it's there's chances that it's going to pop up in the Google search, especially if it's something that's been around for ages. But yeah, anyways, enough making excuses. Okay, then ELinks. It looks promising. However, after looking at Browsh, I'm kind of feeling Browsh. Though what I'm wondering is it gonna be just as slow as as opening the web page in the brow in Firefox, considering that what it's doing in the backend is loading the web page in a headless Firefox instance, and then um, what is it doing then? Yeah, okay. And then generating a terminal version of the page to display in the terminal. Okay, based on the previous conversations in my search, it's correct to be concerned about Browsh's performance. The short answer is yes, it is likely to be just as slow or even slower than opening a web page in Firefox. The reason for this is exactly what you surmised. Browsh is not a lightweight, independent browser like Lynx or ELinks. It's a front end for a full headless Firefox instance. This means that all the resource intensive work of rendering the modern web page, including running JavaScript, processing CSS, and managing a full DOM, is still being done by Firefox in the background. How Browsh's performance differs. While the backend is the same, there are some key differences um, that affect the final speed you experience. The extra step. Browsh adds an additional layer to the process. After Firefox renders the web page, Browsh has to take the graphical output and translate it to into a text-based representation for your terminal. This translation and streaming process adds a slight delay to every action. Dude, this is not going to work out. Okay, okay. This is not going to work out. Okay, Lynx versus ELinks versus Browsh. To summarize the trade-offs based on our previous conversations and new information, Lynx and ELinks are true TUI browsers. They are incredibly fast and lightweight because they parse HTML directly and ignore most modern web features. The trade-off is that many modern JavaScript-heavy websites will be completely broken or unusable. Browsh sacrifices the raw speed and resource efficiency of a traditional TUI-based browser to gain full compatibility with modern web. Okay, no, hold on. All right, what are my other choices in terms of TUI TUI browsers? I'm looking for something that is widely used, actively maintained, and preferably on GitHub. Okay, beyond Lynx, ELinks, and Browsh, there are two other prominent TUI browsers. There's Lynx and W3M. I remember looking at W3M. W3M, it mentioned that it's a pager. I remember that. It mentioned that it's a pager. Both are widely used and have been maintained for a very long time, but they have different approaches and strengths. Lynx is a true classic and is one of the oldest web browsers still in active development. It's known for being fast, lightweight, and highly configurable. It strictly renders text and does not support any images, CSS. Wait, did I open up that Lynx or not? I think I think it's this. The latest development version is at so and so. Links can be used to access information on the World Wide Web or to establish information systems intended primarily for local access. Lynx has been used to build several campus-wide information systems. Lynx can also be used to build systems isolated within a single LAN. Okay. All right. Maintenance. It is very actively maintained. The project is led by a group of volunteers with a new stable release as recently as May 2024. No, hold on. Why is that not? Um, the development and official repository are not on a public GitHub repository, but on an independent site that has been used for development for years. This is a common practice for older open source projects. You know what? I'm gonna look up the site. So Lynx latest version. Okay, so there's something here. Current development. This is the top level page for, okay, current development sources have the latest. Okay, all right, let's open that up. Give me a second. Okay, so based on what I'm seeing here, it seems like Lynx is actively maintained with the latest release last year. And I think they're currently, so that was the latest release. I think in terms of like development, they are actively still developing it. It's on something called invisibleisland.net. Not sure what that is. What is this is the website for the text-based browser Lynx. It also hosts the other projects, Thomas E. Dickey, including projects by Thomas E. Dickey, including Dialogue, a script-driven curses widgets library. The site serves as a distribution point for Lynx and its related sources. Okay, cool. So, so we found one thing here that is. So I think I can remove the. Oh, it did mention I think a link somewhere here, but this link is wrong. To be fair, I think the last time that this README was updated was um, 11 years ago. So, might have old information. This is what I'm looking at right now. So this is the Lynx browser's website. And wait, can you guys see this? Yeah, you can. Okay. Um, yeah, this is the website. And apparently the person that is maintaining this, I don't know if it's one person or multiple people. Um, but yeah, this the person mentioned here, Thomas E. Dickey. This person apparently also made a bunch of other tools, and they maintain a bunch of other tools as well, not just Lynx. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this more to see like how I want to go about it. It does seem to have what I'm looking for. I'm definitely not going to be going for Browsh because like at the beginning of the stream I was like, Browsh is looking pretty good. Um but then now I'm like, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I didn't visit the website for ELinks because I remember Gemini mentioning ELinks had so okay, ELinks is a fork of Lynx, but not the Lynx by Thomas. It's a different Lynx. Uh, so hold on. Wait, this does have contributors. Okay. And this is actively being maintained as well. So I'm gonna look into that. ELinks browser. What's the website mention? It says elinks.cz. Give me a second. Oh, hold on. Right, so I'm reading some of the like history behind this. I'm not entirely sure if I got the information wrong here because this person mentioned Mikulas, and isn't that person the creator of Lynx, which is this? And then there was a fork, which is experimental or enhanced Lynx. And then I think what we are looking at here is I think what we are looking at here. Wait, where was it? Yeah, I think what we are looking at here is a fork of that ELinks. Yeah, see, it mentions here initially ELinks was a development version of Lynx with more. Oh, no, you know what? Okay. Okay. No, I take that back. All right. Okay. Never mind. Um, so I'm just gonna open up the website. If you want, oh, there you go. I'm glad that they have a section for screenshots. Because I was like, dude, I'm looking for screenshots here. Dude, I love that there's links to the images, but the images themselves are not being rendered. There's links to the images. I like that. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna open the thing up here so you guys can see it. So this is the website, and then these are the screenshots. Look at this. So this is what the websites will load up as. And honestly, dude, I'm kind of digging this. I like this. Yeah, dude. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. Now, let me just confirm that this runs within. Wait. Okay, so after doing a bunch of more research, ELinks is looking pretty good. Can you confirm to me that this does actually um, run in the terminal and that it'll work with the Kitty terminal? Because I use the Kitty terminal. Okay, yes, I can confirm that. ELinks is a browser that runs directly in the terminal, and it will work with the Kitty terminal. Terminal based. ELinks is a classic TUI browser. When you run it, it takes over your terminal window to display web pages as text. Okay. It is designed to be a fast, lightweight alternative to graphical browsers and an ideal tool for low resource environments or for browse via an SSH connection. Okay, I guess it is decided then. So what I'm going to be doing is, dude, I love that. Okay, I click, hold on, hold on. So I clicked on this, right? The screenshots page. And then I clicked on documentation. And for some reason, it didn't seem to me like a whole lot changed. Probably because of how basic the HTML and how basic the UI is. I'm not shitting on it. That's a good thing because this kind of thing, it'll be rendered pretty well even in the um, TUI browser, and I think to a certain extent they did want that as well. I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying that it was kind of funny that I switched from the screenshots page to the documentation page and I didn't really see too much of a difference. And I think back in the day, a lot of websites were actually like this. Also, it kind of seems like the development for ELinks had maybe slowed down or paused or something, because somebody posted 4 years ago, being all excited that ELinks is back. By the way, I have some information to show you guys. Give me a second. We're going to talk about something here. And I'm glad that I remembered this on stream because I did want to make like a video out of it. Not like not like a very informative video, but it's information that at least it helped me, or information that I wish was a little more widely available. Give me a second. Okay, my internet is taking a shit right now, so give it a second. Let it take its own time to load this fucking GitHub repo page, which for some reason it's taking so much time to load. Okay, there it is. All right, so I want to talk about something here. So I was recently doing research, and actually I've done research in the past as well about game development in Python, even if it's just making simple games in Python. And one of the frameworks or libraries that popped up was this library called Pygame, right? This is a very famous library, and it has been used for a bunch of projects, and quite often it does get recommended as well. But something that confused me when I looked at the repo was I wasn't seeing a whole lot of updates, and that's not necessarily, well, I should say recent updates, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if something doesn't need to be updated that often, then it's not going to be updated that often. And with open source projects, um, sometimes you do have that situation where things might not be updated that often, right? But then I did some more research, and through that research, I found out that apparently the team that was initially building this framework or contributing to this framework, Pygame, they split up, or they moved away from this project, and they made this Pygame Community Edition. Now, I'm not going to go into the reasons for, why that happened. You can do your own research for that. But the reason I'm talking about this is because, dude, this doesn't get mentioned nearly as much as Pygame. I don't know if it's just because Pygame, having been around for so long, it has much better SEO than this, and so it pops up in search results and stuff like that, or if just not enough people know about it, which I would have a hard time believing that. Like, look at the number of stars here, look at the amount of people that are using it, look at the amount of contributors. Either way, I wish this would pop up more often, because this is actually an actively developed framework. This framework is actively being developed. So I wish Pygame Community Edition would pop up, even if it's alongside Pygame itself. I wish Pygame Community Edition would also get mentioned, so people know that, hey, this is another choice if you are looking for something that is more actively maintained. Yeah, this is another thing that I kind of got busy looking into yesterday. More towards the end of the day, let's say, because I am kind of interested in. So I'd mentioned previously that I wanted to do a game dev project, and I mean, I was planning on using Unity, which, to be honest, is still very much an option. It's not like, that option is gone. It's a very valid option that still exists for me. However, if there are other options, I would like to explore them. And it's not like I'm building something that's, a very complex simulation or has very heavy working. I mean, it might have heavy workings to a certain extent, but like I did want to somehow connect it to ML, not necessarily generative AI, but more like I wanted to connect it to the concepts of of deep learning. So something like, a neural network architecture related. I could make some kind of fun game that's centered around that concept. Um, yeah, I had an idea for a game that I wanted to. Well, I had an idea for wanting to work on a game. I hadn't come up with the idea. Okay, so I started doing research, and I found these. I did find Pygame Community Edition, which I'm glad that I found it. You do still have the option of Pygame itself, but there is a significant amount of effort being put into Pygame Community Edition as well. And there's a bunch of features that they wanted to add in, which they have been adding slowly. Where am I going with that? I'm just saying words. They had okay the developers that had the developers that wanted to add more features and work on various things in the previous Pygame project before the split, they have been working on a bunch of those things here, and there's lots of like active discussion going on, and as you can see, there's active commits as well. So this is definitely something to check out if you do want to try game development in Python. One more thing that you could check out if you want to try game development in Python, and that's actually something that I'm going to be checking out soon, probably on stream. It's another library called Arcade. This is a Python library for game development. And after doing research on Python Arcade, I realized that hey, this probably has the stuff that I'm looking for in a game engine library. Give me a second. I'm just opening the thing up here. Oh, I think I have a lot of these open. So what I'm going to do now is start closing a bunch. I have a lot of these tabs open. Right, that should speed things up a tiny bit. Yeah, while that's loading, let's transition back. Okay. So this is the repo for Python Arcade, which is also a game development library. And this is what I'm going to be using. I kind of compared the features um, of Pygame Community Edition and Python Arcade. And after reading the feature differences and you know which one is higher level and lower level and stuff, it really seemed like I would have a better time with Python Arcade, especially coming from a Unity background. I would have a better time with Python Arcade. I should just say Arcade. Nah, Python Arcade, whatever. I would have a better time with the Python Arcade. So I'm gonna go with that. So the great thing here is keeping like performance heavy games aside, if I want to do something within Python itself, I can do that using Python Arcade. And the great thing is I can include other modules as well. So if I want to, for example, run an Onyx runtime that does that runs, you know, some kind of model in it that's related to, you know, what's going on in the game, I could do that. Of course, there will be limitations eventually, but it's not like I'm making a very performance heavy game, at least not yet, not at the moment. I'm still trying to decide whether I want to explore Python Arcade or if I want to build the game in Unity itself. Cuz dude, I really wish there was a better way for me to use the Unity editor. Because I mean, I can use the Unity editor now. To a certain extent, I can use it. It's not like a completely lost cause, but I can use it on one of my Ubuntu machines. But like the idea of coding the entire thing, it seems like very appealing for some reason. But I mean, my knowledge in Unity, it's definitely gonna my existing knowledge in Unity is definitely gonna help if I decide to make the game in Unity itself. And like I'll have a much easier time getting, yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm thinking about it, I would have an easier time getting the thing up and running in Unity. I mean, it's not like it'll be hard to get it up and running here. It's just that I'll have to learn how to do stuff here. Whereas there, I already have prior knowledge, so I can just like, you know, get things going. And on the bright side, I could, you know what, we could try something right now. Real quick, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transition, and we're gonna try something. Um, I don't know how well this is gonna work. We're gonna test it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up Unity right now. I'm opening up Unity on my Linux machine, and I think I can create a new project as well. No, I have an existing project. I don't need to create a new project. Did I open Unity Hub? Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay. I think this is it. Proj 01. All right, give it a couple of seconds because this is opening up on Linux, so it shouldn't take too long. Just to show you guys what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like. Unity is opening up here. I have btop running in the background. Just ignore that for a second. Um, Actually, just a minute. So the reason I had btop open was because I was concerned that it might start using up too much memory, but I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. Let me just bring up Unity here, and now we can transition back. Okay, so I'm gonna create this project and give it a second. What's it been since, how long has it been since I said that it was going to take a couple of seconds? I think it's been like maybe 2 minutes since then. I don't know. But yeah, you compare this now to how long it would take on Windows, and it's like, holy shit, dude, insane. Okay, so this is within Unity. Um, this is what Unity looks like, and if I hit play, you can see the cube spinning. Right, I can real quick. I can open up. How do we exit this? Okay. So let me go into Yahtzee and go into Unity projects and this. And which one did I open up? I think it's this. Yeah, I think it's this. Okay. So in here, we can open up NeoVim and we have the solution. Okay. I think this is our script. No, this is not the script. Which script is it? Though you can see in the bottom here, it's loading the solution. This is always good to see because when you see this, there's a decent chance that actually, no, when you see this, this means that it's gonna load up the project and the solution and you're gonna have IntelliSense working. So now if I come here and do, actually let's do it within a function so it definitely works. There you go. Transform dot, let's say rotate. So actually that's kind of what I wanted to do. Um, all right. Um, let's create a public float variable here. Let's say rot speed equals 0f. And then here we can do transform dot rotate, and we can rotate on, I believe there's, hold on. So here we have, okay, so we have rotate on that and just rotate angle. Okay, all right. Wait, it's rotate by angle, not rotate to angle, right? Okay, all right. So then we can do 0. Oh God, what just happened? Yeah. So here we can do 0f and let's say 5f and 0f. We would be rotating on the y-axis here. Oh, actually, we don't need this here. We don't need this in start. We need this in update. Yeah, here I'm supposed to mention rot speed. I need to figure out a way to get rid of this thing that like pops up because it's like really big when it pops up and it takes up the entire screen. Like, look at that. That is until I give it, all the valid values, which in this case, what is it, rot speed on Y, and I also want rot speed on X. So it's going to have like a diagonal sort of movement. Okay, so then we save this, go back into Unity. You can see it quickly refreshes. And then we add, hold on. The script is at the bottom. Yeah. So then let's add this in here and disable this script and give this 50. Okay. Yeah. Uh, uh, wait. Here's something that we need to do. Where's the cursor? Here. It's rot speed multiplied by time dot delta time. Yeah, this one. And then here as well, rot speed multiplied by time dot delta time, and save. And then come back here, let it refresh, and then play. Dude, I love how quick it is. I love how quick it is compared to how long it used to take before. it is quick. It is, yo, it is quick. So I'm going to be doing editor stuff on another, well, on this machine that I'm streaming off of. And I'm going to be doing the scripting stuff also on this machine that I'm, streaming the Linux thing off of. But I'm going to be controlling it through another machine, which gives me a bit of an advantage here because what this means is on one machine, I would be looking at this, the Unity editor, and on the other machine, I would be looking at this window. So it's an advantage for me because I can just switch between these two these two keyboards anytime I need to like test something or whatever. But yeah, yeah. I think you know what? Yeah, I did spend time looking at Python Arcade, um, and that was good. I'm glad that I did that, but I think I'm gonna stick with I think I'm gonna stick with Unity, and I'm still like any what do you call it? Any deep learning related stuff, I'm going to be using CentOS for it, and obviously the Onyx runtime. So I can still bring stuff from Python into Unity as I had planned to initially. My whole thing was like, what's going to make my workflow a little more fluid and a little more easier? And that's kind of why I kept trying to lean on code only stuff. But then there's only so far that you can get with code only stuff, right? At a certain point, you need an editor, especially if you're trying to do more complex tasks. And given my years of knowledge in Unity, I feel like it makes sense for me to just continue with this because there's a bunch of things that I wanted to explore within Unity itself, um, like a bunch of old and new packages, old packages that I never got a chance to go too deep into. Stuff like, for example, the C Sharp job system. That's one of the things that I'd been trying to get into it for a while, but then each time I would get distracted with something. And I'm going to be 100% honest here. A huge part of the blame, I mean, aside from my horrible time management and my bad um, attention span and all of that, a major contributor to me getting distracted each time was the lag that I would be facing. Like, dude, if I didn't have to worry about a project taking a billion years to open up and then taking a million years to take an action, like I was having to deal with when I was running Unity on my Windows machine, I would be motivated to do so much more with Unity. And this is, to be fair, not the fault of Unity. It's the fault of the hard drive that I have on this Windows system, which, you know, it's got issues. So any operations that you run on it that require constant, um, constant file I/O, those operations are going to have issues. So something like Unity that is usually constantly reading and writing from and to files, and it's got a bunch of things running in the background and stuff. It can really bog it down. Again, not Unity's fault necessarily. It's my system that wasn't able to handle it. Now I'm on a system that can handle it, a system that's a little more healthier. And yeah, now I think I can explore all of the stuff that I didn't explore before. Where is that list? There was a list that I'd maintained for research. Um, Hold on just a minute. I think I'd made Where was it? I think I wrote it down somewhere. Maybe I'd written it down in NeoVim. Oh God, what did I just do? Give me a second. I made a bit of a mistake. Just a second. I'm trying to look for like a redo operation. So there's undo. Is there no redo? Okay, there's no redo. There's undo. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Close this and open it up again. And usually I do save the stuff that I've been adding to this, but okay, yeah. So, right. Um, Now in here, I did maintain a list of Unity, specifically Unity related stuff that I had to look into, so that I would remember it later on whenever I needed to, do research on something. Yeah, here it is. Unity research as of 2nd of June. So as of 2nd of June, these are the things that I wanted to look into in Unity, or these are the things that I wanted to kind of focus my research on. The animation rigging package, I never got a chance to move forward with this. Um, then there was a behavior package. I don't know if I'm going to move forward with this one just yet, because while it's a very interesting concept, the graph view, or the graph editor, it is, at least on the machine that I'm running it on, it seems to be incredibly slow. So I'm not sure how well it's going to work out right now for me. So I'm not going to touch that for now. So there's the animation rigging package. Then there's the Centis package, which is basically a lot of AI and ML related stuff, including the Onyx runtime. Then we've got something called the Project Auditor package. I don't think I need to spend too much time with this. This gives you a lot of like project related stats. Then there was a splines package. I need to look into that for sure. At some point later, I want to also look into, I want to revisit dots and entities. Dots is the data oriented technology stack, I think. I think so. And it includes various things like the entity component system, ECS, which is now the entities package. And it also includes the C Sharp job system, though the C Sharp job system is its own separate thing. It does sort of complement the dots stack. But yeah, I want to look into entities as well at some point. That's going to be like a much later thing. I don't think I'm going to touch that now. C Sharp job system, yes, I'm going to touch that. UI toolkit. UI toolkit is something I absolutely want to look into. Now, I feel like, considering that considering that I've solved a bunch of the coding related issues that I had with Unity and Linux, and more specifically NeoVim, I feel like I feel like I'll have an easier time exploring this as well. So on stream, like I could dedicate streams to this. We could do we could look into the animation rigging package. We could look into Centis, splines, C Sharp job system, and UI toolkit. Now, except for the last one, all of the others that I've mentioned, I feel like I'm going to be able to use them somehow in game dev projects, which I mean, that's kind of what they are meant for, right? But I feel like in whatever game dev project I plan on working on next, I will be able to use them. One of these days, we should sit down and like just write down an idea. I don't want to go for something massive. I want to aim for, because dude, aiming for something massive is a recipe for burnout. I want to work on something small where I'm able to follow the proper steps, which is make the GDD, and then do the prototyping, and then start the development. So once I know that what I'm trying to achieve is actually achievable, then I'll do the actual development, and I'll try my best not to get affected by feature creep, because this has happened with me in the past. Um, I was working on a project called APV1, the Archangel prototype, but I never finished that game. We never even got like too deep into the development, to be honest, because there was a whole lot of like ideas being thrown around, and there was a whole lot of like initial systems that were being made. I spent a lot of time working on systems for this and that, not fully not fully realizing the concept. It was just like, oh, okay, I have this idea. I'm going to need this system. I'm going to need that system. I'm going to need so and so thing. Let me make this controller. And I need something that can be extended. So let me use these different features that I know in programming to create extendable components. And all of that kind of like, dude, I I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot from that project and a bunch of the other projects that I worked on as well. Some which I finished, and some which I didn't really get very deep into before they just, you know, got stopped. I worked on projects even with other teams. Some, actually, most of them just, these were all indie projects. Most of them didn't really get very far, because that's an unfortunate thing that happens in indie game development when people are not really being paid, when people are putting in their own time, when people are putting their free time in, or when people are, how do I say this? When people are only able to dedicate a certain amount of their free time to the development of the project, and they are not getting paid for it, then, these kinds of things can happen. But each of those projects taught me something. Actually, a lot of things. Each of those projects taught me a lot of things. And that is why when I start this project, it's going to be an incredibly simple one. I need to sit down and write, write down some ideas. Uh, so far, I know nothing about what I want to do with it. But the only thing that I know is that I want it to be centered around data science and machine learning and AI concepts, not generative AI, but sort of like building AI models within the game, like trying to trying to trying to teach people about, let's say, neural network architecture in a fun way. Like throughout the level, maybe you could build a neural network, or maybe there's a neural network that's not doing so great, and you can like fix parts of it to actually get things right, to make the neural network work again, stuff like that. I know a lot of it, I'm going to be centering it around deep learning, more specifically deep learning. I should use the term deep learning because a lot of people that don't really know jack shit about AI and ML and deep learning, the moment they hear AI, it's kind of like poison for them, and they'll be like, "No, shoo, get away." Um, I should probably say deep learning, but yeah, it's not really wrong. It is actually deep learning related because deep learning is ML with heavy focus on neural networks. Either way, what I do know is that whatever I'm building, it's going to be centered around what I'm learning in deep learning. So, so far, I've learned about feed forward neural networks. So that's something that I can go off of. And I'm still exploring this concept, right? I'm still exploring the idea of feed forward neural networks. So, dude, holy shit, we need to get back to that. My God, dude, it's been so long. We need to get back to that. Right now, in my where is it? Here. So right now in my sort of, let's say, to do, I need to finish um I need to finish Vim I need to finish installing Vim Slime. And what else? There was something more. I don't remember what it was. I've been exploring IPython as well. I really like whatever is going on there. It's great. It'll be super useful for my data science and ML workflow, more specifically TUI based workflow, terminal based workflow. In fact, dude, we were also supposed to be learning about textualize. No, textual. We were supposed to be learning about textual. I forgot about that. Oh, to do. Um, the Stream AI voice app. We need to work on that as well. Um, get back to deep learning research. Okay. All right. So we are not going to be learning Lua on stream, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remember to change the title of this and title it, I don't know, exploring TUI based browsers or something like that. Now, hold on for a second. How long have I been streaming? Holy shit, dude, we've been going for 2 hours. That's that's not common for me. Well, good on me. Hell yeah. I also need to upload the VODs that are remaining. I don't want to fall behind on the upload schedule because that's happened before, and then I just decided to not upload some of the VODs. Give me a second here. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? I don't know what these people are doing. Um, prototype to build. Okay, okay, it's tech related. This is a startup house, something called Mio Travel. We're gonna go. We're gonna go raid into these guys. Um, yeah, let's go check them out. I'm gonna try and stream again tomorrow, dude. There's just so much. I need to sit down and like finish these specific things that I need. Like the Vim slime needs to be done before I can do the data science thing. Just to have a more streamlined kind of workflow. And then of course we need to get back into data science and deep learning because like we've been away from that for a while now. Like what the fuck? Um, I need to work on the Stream AI voice app because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to consistently stream, um, even on days when I'm not able to do like a talking stream. I'll at least be able to do an AI voice stream. Um, so I need to work on that project like soon. I need to, yo, I need to keep these things in mind and like prepare a list and then get through the list. Hopefully get through some of the list today itself. I'm gonna try and finish learning Lua today, and then hopefully I'll be done with that and I can move on. And I need to set up the TUI browser as well. Yeah, okay, okay. That's gonna be it for today's stream. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.